especially in rare diseases. As you know, communication is very important. So if you use social media, we ask to please share about this meeting, share what you learn about gene myopathy. The idea behind this meeting is not only to speak about gene myopathy, but also to stress the importance of collaboration in rare diseases and to understand how this is a major factor for success. We are here because we want to accelerate research in gene myopathy. So you know now I am myself a gene myopathy patient, and I could decide to wait for research to make its course, and literally doing this without the patient. But my decision was to do this with patients and take action as partner and decision maker. So this to make sure that, of course, always a multi-stakeholder collaboration is ensured. This means patients, researchers, healthcare professionals, industry, and all stakeholders involved in rare diseases and in gene myopathy in our case. We face often stagnation of research. This happens because projects fail or are dropped at some stage of the research and development process. We have here many stakeholders, and we understand that this is not just time. It's time for patients, it's time for investors, it's time for researchers. So having a drug fail in a late development stage is a huge problem for all actors involved, patients as a priority, of course. This is common to many rare diseases, so not only to gene myopathy. Disease models do not fully recapitulate human disease, and you will hear a lot about this in this couple of days. Population often is not defined properly, and so in here it's very important to have natural history studies. Patients say that they don't want to participate in natural history studies because a treatment is not given. My message to patients is we only can give a treatment if we know the disease. So participating in a natural history study is very important. And there is no early patient involvement. Now we speak about patient involvement in the clinical development stage, but we don't really speak about having patients early on. And of course, it's very difficult to have initial research in academia because of funding. You said it yourself. There is not really funding for basic research. So once again, I go back to me. I'm a patient. How to start and generate interest in academia? What role can patients have in this? So today I will tell you about my journey as a patient, but also beyond being a patient, because in the end, I'm not just a patient. I will tell you about patient participation from an active to a proactive role. When I speak about patient participation, I speak, and I'm using intentionally this term, patients that are only research subjects. They contribute to the study or participants themselves. So what they do, they have a very passive role. They give samples. So they don't participate in the decision-making process. Following that, we have patient engagement, which is more active, like review research proposals, design of a clinical trial or a study. The patient makes sure that it's active in the sense that makes also the community participate by ensuring information is accessible to everyone. And then we have patient involvement. And this is a more proactive role. So in this case, patients become initiators. They are official partners. They become co-investigators in a research project. So they identify patient needs, they highlight a new research direction, and they can design, develop, and co-write research proposals. What happened in my case? What's my journey so far? Many people wonder how I ended up here. So of course, going back to the definitions I gave you before, I started as a patient. So the diagnosis was very difficult. At the time, I couldn't really find much on Google. So there was no active patient advocacy organization. You will see this term often in my presentation, PAO. There was no findable information. So what could I do? Well, I had to do something for myself and dig for information. Eventually, because of a research project, I was diagnosed. And only 3 weeks later, I participated in a natural history study at the NIH, and that's how disease education started. So I was explained what was known about this disease. And at that point, I also understand the problem of not having enough data. I was explained that there was not enough research because there were not many patients, and something in there clicked. So only 3 weeks after my diagnosis. So this followed by reading publications and participating in conference and interacting with researchers. I would ask for questions, and I always be annoying researchers with thousands of questions. But it's also this interaction that allowed me to even reason more about the unmet needs and gaps in research. So as you see, and from there, from patient participation, this becomes more of an engagement process. I engage with researchers. But the real patient involvement started when I was trained and educated in research and development. So everything about regulatory affairs. And this also happened in tandem with a period quite important for the GNE myopathy community. So they face 3 studies of ultragenics discontinued. And at that point, the phase 2A of the MANAC trial was completed and patients were waiting for the next phase. And both trials showed gastrointestinal adverse events. So I was reasoning, and when I was reasoning, I was also linking everything with what all research is about, how a drug is developed, what could I do to push for more. And in 2020, I came up with a publication of Michela Serpi and Fabrizio Pertusati, and that's how I contacted them, and I learned that their research project was stopped because the pharmaceutical company changed pipeline. And I thought we were not in the position to really stop and not continue or give other opportunities for more research. And that's how it happened. We applied for the European Gene Program on Rare Diseases. And in a 5-6 years from patient participation, I became a partner. So I'm an equal partner with the researchers in the consortium, and this is now the 3rd year of the project. Also, the patient has a responsibility in this journey, and it's very important. Where can the patient help and be the risk factor? For sure, in dosing strategy, that's what we are discussing. Patient selection, what inclusion and exclusion criteria should be mentioned in a study. Study design, duration, should it be a randomized clinical trial? Endpoint and primary study objectives, main inclusion and exclusion criteria, very important for GNE myopathy. We are a very diverse and heterogeneous community. So it's very important to make sure that as many patients as possible participate in clinical trials. Safety and tolerability concerns. You said it before, and I was really happy to see this, developing outcome measures to measure clinical benefit. We are missing that as well. We need to work more on that. Communicate, and in here, it's more the responsibility of patients and patient advocates and all researchers. Communicate realistic expectations. And when we speak about realistic expectations, it means also to speak about research. Research is not easy. Research takes time. But if we don't work together, it's very difficult to get eventually to a possible treatment. Priority setting and participating in events on gene myopathy. So I thank all patients who came. So this is a call for all patients to follow the efforts of other patients in participating in events. Patients get into this world after an unexpected rare disease diagnosis. There is no previous experience in research and no scientific background. There is language barrier. There is lack of resources, which is both human and financial. Patient organizations are very small. It's not like we really have scientific advisory committees or national experts to rely on. We don't have committed patient advocates. So this is a fight that we are literally doing on our own. And this is something common in many other ultra-rare diseases. Very important, and I stress this, we need to overcome labeling on volunteer patient advocacy work. It doesn't mean that whatever is volunteer is not professional. Not trained patient advocates. So it's very important to educate patients because the moment patients speak with other patients, they have a responsibility to communicate correct information about science, about possible hopes for a treatment, and so on. So explaining the patient community that this is not just about having a treatment, very important, I'm a patient myself, but it's about joining efforts toward the right treatment. So participate in natural history studies, being an advocate, disseminate, and educate. So how to start? My idea was to involve as many disciplines as possible. Finding experts at the right time can save time and money. I mentioned this before. And this becomes precious for patients, but also funders and investors. And I need to underline, among these experts, there are patients. So patients are your main expert, because there is not much in literature. So a quick overview of the objectives in ProDGNE. The first one, to develop an improved substrate replacement approach. The second one, improve drug absorption and therapeutic effect to address possibly the gastrointestinal adverse events encountered in previous clinical trials. Identify biomarkers through different omic technologies, and then determine a safe and promising compound also through modeling gene myopathy in zebrafish. So this is the consortium. You will meet them later. We have the coordinator, Paula Vieira from Portugal. There is also Dr. Hans Lockmuller from Canada, bringing in clinical expertise. Paula bringing in expertise in CDGs. We have Rüdiger Oskorte from Germany, who brings us many, many years of research on GNE and sialic acid. Fabrizio Pertusati, our prodrug geek, and now also Mentimeter geek. And then Pierluigi Caboni on metabolomics and lipidomics. So how the idea of ProDGNE started? In the proposal submission, of course, we realized that a team was starting, and now 3 years later, we can say that this is a very strong team and a strong collaboration. So what was the main impact? So as you can see from just meeting Michela and Fabrizio, that's exactly at the bottom what became, and it's our last meeting in Ottawa. So we managed to extend efforts to labs new to gene myopathy in Europe. We motivated efforts in countries where gene myopathy was not studied. So we have researchers in the team who never studied gene myopathy before. As a patient, I try to act as a knowledge transfer to avoid duplication of efforts, development of new expertise, and of course, maintain, build, and strengthen a coordinated action. So we participated, as I mentioned, the European Joint Program on Rare Diseases. These were the main questions that I brought on the table, something that we will discuss later as well. And indeed, I stress the importance of starting patient partnership as early as possible. So things that could have stopped me. My idea will never be taken seriously. I'm not a scientist. It's not worth the effort. Success rate of these calls is less than 10%. There is a minimal number of experts in participating countries. So where do I find the people to participate in my consortium if there are no experts? The deadline is too close, is always too close. So anything we do, I do not have the time, and I say this sometimes, and then I say, well, whatever, I'm alone in these ideas of mine, but let's do it. This is not realistic, and this is an ultra rare disease. It's just too complicated. We are here because even if it's complicated, it has to be done. So once again, why ProDGNE? To have all stakeholders, partners together for the patient always at the center to then develop a project called ProDGNE. So these some pictures of us during our meetings this 3 years ago. More meetings, a Rare Disease Day, meeting in Portugal, nice picture. And then, well, shipping, which, well, it's part of the game as well. Yeah, this is how we communicate. Yes, the package arrives. More meetings. This was in Ottawa last year. And yes, the final slide. So why reporting on patient partnership is a shared responsibility. So if you believe that working with passion is good, share it. Tell your story, because it's important to understand and set in roles. Unfortunately, the concept is still new. In here, I speak about applicants. So think about also reviewers in a research project. Not everyone is really ready to have a patient lead a research project. We need more communication, awareness, and dissemination of experiences. So it's a responsibility of researchers, but also patient organizations to show the tangible impact of patient partnership. This is a shared responsibility to ensure we all contribute to strengthen current efforts and build more opportunities.